would you say dating in high school is good to do? Like, should people do it?
Nah. Nah. Check out A Marriage
Please
Story.
go watch
Jennifer
Marriage
Aniston.
No.
Or not.
No.
I'm
Definitely not Jennifer Aniston.
I'm sorry. I hate myself for that, dude.
He meant Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson, dude. I don't.
Revenge or justice?
What about vengeance?
I'm such a loser, sweating God, I'm the worst.
Welcome back to the Woodsmen podcast. We're your hosts, Brent Murphy.
And Joey Rucker.
And you know, growing up, we tend to hear the whole parents know best thing when it comes to relationships. We try to date people to specifically spite our parents. They get mad, we grow up, and then we end up typically with someone who has qualities sort of like our own mom. So, I don't know, man, but for real, like, relationships are kind of hard and they can be a little bit hard to navigate. So, let's try and dive into the most complex emotional topic brought to you by the most uneducated group of individuals, man.
That's us.
Woo! Let's go! Well, all right, chat. How you guys been? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Sounds like they're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sounds like they've been coming back from the existential crisis that Tim and Hank put them through a couple weeks ago.
I mean, I don't blame them. We talked about how influential it was last week, but the more I think about it, the more
They're kind of the real stars of the podcast, to be honest, man. I don't know if we're keeping up. Well,
they've surpassed Martin and Huey by a landslide.
100%. I mean, if it makes chat feel better, they are here in the studio with us now,
Yeah.
so that is good.
You can see Martin's leg up at the top of Brent's cam, but Huey's right up there. Don't you worry. Huey's here. He's hanging out.
He's
over that way.
Yeah.
Top left of the screen for our audio only listeners.
Oh yeah. you guys couldn't see, but I was definitely pointing and struggling, might I add. So yeah, that was great. Well, Housekeeping. We don't have a lot.
No.
But we do have a few. So we're officially on the new schedule. If you guys haven't realized, now Fridays. We definitely didn't have it on time last Friday.
It got past us, but we hadn't started the schedule. We just decided to start doing it halfway through what should have. I don't know if that makes sense. We planned a schedule and then we started halfway through the schedule. Now we're actually starting the schedule the way we're supposed to, so it should be getting out every week, Friday at 5 p.m.
Yep. So, with that being said, because we are on more platforms now than just YouTube, again, I will keep saying it every single episode.
Reiterate it every time.
Can you guys please just rate us on Spotify? You know, I really thought chat was going to pull it in when I said it on Instagram. Not a single person.
I'll give them some slack because we started on YouTube and we progressed our social media posts to push them towards YouTube. But yes, Brent's right. We have our podcast on all platforms now. So please rate us on Spotify, follow us on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, whatever you find your podcasts. Please go check us out, rate us, let us know how we're doing. We're on everything. So feel free to check us out wherever you're most comfortable.
What he's really saying is you literally have no excuse.
Pretty much.
None. Like absolutely zero.
Yeah.
Anyways, with that being said, also, we are working on more content, believe it or not, with the little amount of time we have, we somehow have big dreams and we are still shooting for the stars on some projects that probably the biggest projects we've ever worked on.
Probably. I think with this new schedule, we'll potentially have a little bit more time to start working towards these other projects we have going on in the background.
Just a tiny bit.
Just a little bit. Much more than our previous Wednesday at noon schedule. So hopefully you guys like the Friday at 5 p.m. because we like it.
We very much do. Let's just say we are recording currently with the sun still out.
Yeah, which is a definite change in our our usual way of doing things.
Yeah, we're less tired, so hopefully our content surpasses what it's been for sure. Because
Yeah, I'm hoping it shows. I hope like we're gonna start coming across as like more alive and more
yeah,
ready to do this.
I hope we don't just keep saying this, but then we just sound even worse. Because that would just be disappointing.
Yeah, that would be a bummer for sure.
Well, I mean, with that being said, we trying to dive into some growing pains, dog?
Well, I have some news first.
You do have news.
Yes. I'm trying to keep up. I don't have as much news, I'll admit.
Joey is our resident newskeeper.
I thought it'd be fun to keep trying to do this, but this week was a drag, and so I don't have much. But I have one for you, and I think you'll enjoy it.
I better.
Some of our fans will enjoy it, but by the time this episode comes out, the new trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine will be out. It's coming out tomorrow for us, and they'll have been, seen it in long and past by then. But
hopefully. What if our demographic just no comic book fans, bro?
That would be a bummer because I feel like we give off comic book.
Well, we give off nerd vibes.
Yeah, I mean, we try and give off these woodsy feels, but aside from like the random plastic trees in our background, we haven't really.
We have mountains in the back that no one can see.
That's true. Yeah, we're doing our best. One of these days we're do
just trying our best, dude.
Maybe for episode 50 or something, we'll have an episode dedicated to only woods. Just woods and woodsmen.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, how many episodes in and we still haven't
done anything?
Talked about the woods once?
We
besides
tried.
Scary things.
Yeah, it's always been scary things. We haven't actually sat down and just talked about the woods and why we like it. That would be fun, just to talk about like why we
enjoy the woods.
Yeah.
Why we deem ourselves woodsmen.
Yeah. So
yeah.
That was all. Like I said, there's not much going around. I'm sure there is news out there that
he's just not trying to be a downer, Chad, because he's slowly figured out that every single news segment he brings is it's pretty terrible news. So
people
like
dying and getting sick, and it's just not fun.
Hey man,
so
it's okay. Not all news is good, I guess.
But I'm excited for the trailer. I can't wait. I'm
very excited.
I'm looking forward to it.
I do have one. If you're gonna talk about, a movie trailer,
sure.
Guess what movie's out?
What's out currently?
Currently.
Is it a superhero?
No.
Horror?
No.
Drama?
No.
Mystery?
No.
What?
Sasquatch Summer.
Oh, it's out?
Yes.
Oh my God, we need to go see that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get like a big old group to go.
Oh my God, we should totally do it.
We should try and do it this week.
I'm so down. I'm so
ready. Dude, if you guys haven't heard about it, please, for the love of God, please look up Sasquatch Summer or Sasquatch Sunset. Yeah.
I have no idea what
Sasquatch
it's called.
Sunset.
Look up new Sasquatch movie coming out 2024 and you'll know it when you see it.
Phenomenal piece of work. I haven't even seen it and it's phenomenal.
Truly art in its making. Like it's
no words. Not even in the film, no words.
Is there none?
I don't believe so.
Oh my God.
Well, they're Sasquatch, bro. What language are they speaking?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you. You're right. They're just a bunch of Bigfoots walking around and living their life.
Just a bunch of big feet, dog.
Oh my God.
Trekking in the wilderness. Well, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got too. That's my news. Hopefully it wasn't super lackluster, but yeah, that's all I got.
Well, now that we've had a good laugh, it's time to get depressed on some of these relationships. Am I right?
Let's do it. So getting into relationships, I figured we could talk a little bit first about how relationships differ from when you were younger, when you were kind of like, what's the word we liked in our friendship podcast? Adolescence.
In our adolescence.
Yeah. And how it kind of differs now. Now that we're older, we kind of have a different view on things. I mean, we definitely have a different view on things, don't you think?
100%.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't know. This one is going to be a lot more of like a personal take, and I'm just kind of going to see how you agree, disagree, what your thoughts are. So definitely just
By the way, Chad, we're taking a different approach on this one today, so,
Yeah. So I was just going to get into it, and I was going to talk about how, I guess, younger relationships differ from older relationships. Now, we're not exactly old. I mean, we're still relatively in our prime. No, we are in our prime. Sadly, that's such a weird thing to say because I feel old. I don't know
I feel
about
like
you.
I'm about to have a quarter life crisis, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
same. But compared to when we were in high school and teenagers, and I think that's where most people start to develop real feelings. Some middle schoolers have their moments of like, like, but like it really starts in high school. Wouldn't you agree?
I would say, yeah. I mean, I think you always have your little crushes and
Yeah.
your like quote unquote like boyfriends or girlfriends like in elementary or middle school, but
Yeah.
those aren't real. Those are like candy grams at Valentine's Day, like that. It's nothing. So.
Yeah. Well, just going right into it. I think one of the things that differs the most between young relationships and older relationships is I kind of feel like young relationships are very not purposefully, but they are just sort of like make believe, pretend. And what I mean by that is like you don't really think about everything that comes along with being together. Like you don't
You're not
truly
thinking about the future.
Yeah.
You're just thinking about like, oh, I have this person here. I like them.
Yeah,
They
you're
like me.
you're in that fairy tale moment of like this person likes me back. I like them. We can go on dates. We can, go do things together. I like the way she looks. She likes the way I look. I like the way she feels. She likes the way I feel, or
Yeah.
vice versa. And I don't know. I think we should start there. What do you think? Do you think that older relationships right now still have a bit of that fairy tale bliss at like the age we're at, 23, 24? Or do you think it's a lot more grounded? Obviously, it's more grounded than when we were in high school, but do you think there's still sort of that like some people don't take it as seriously as they could? Things
Well,
like that.
I think like everybody's different. I mean, we still have people who are our age, like people we went to high school with. They're still wilding out. They're still like in their party phase, They're still doing like all this crazy stuff. They're not taking anything seriously. And I think there's some people who like do that all the way up until they're like in their 30s or,
Yeah.
I just think certain people are different. I know for me, it's like completely different. I'm in a very committed and very like, I would say like a long, very long-term relationship.
Sure.
Not to some people, they've been together for like 8 plus, 10 plus
Yeah.
years or whatever, but it's just different. I mean, yeah, you have that, I guess, fairy tale kind of, I don't know, like you have the puppy love stuff, but it's like older now because you're an adult, like you're like
So
working.
It's kind of like puppy love, but it's not like high school puppy love.
Well, it's like real puppy love. Like it's real like.
That's a good way
Well,
to
I
put
don't know.
it.
Like
Yeah,
you're
I
thinking
feel
about the
you.
future. You're not like, at least for me, I'm not thinking of like, oh, this is just fun right now because I'm bored, or like,
Yeah.
this isn't. It's like real. So I guess
Yeah.
you treat it more real.
No, and that
So you
was
do
one of my
different
opinions
things.
too, was that I think a lot with getting to this age, we're all individually, aside from relationships, we're all individually forced now to think about our futures because we finally got to the point where our futures are catching up with us. We always, like when we were kids, we're told you're going to have to think about it, you're going to have to prepare, train, learn, whatever. And now we're kind of at that point where we need to apply that. We need to actually
Yeah.
go out, make a life for ourselves. And even though that's crucial to just us, having a partner in your life is going to dramatically change it, good or bad, and you need to
Yeah.
really think about how that relationship is going to affect your life or theirs, and how you guys are going to get a lot. And like you said, jobs and priorities. It's really important to like keep that in mind, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I've never once, I think, been in a relationship where I had to like actually think about like my schedule. Like I have to sit down and think like, okay, if I'm gonna hang out with friends this week, what day can I do that? or like what day can I go and see my girlfriend? Like what day, it's not just a like, oh, hey, you guys want to go hang out today? Like everyone has their own schedules. They have their own work. They have their own responsibilities they have to think about. And I'm taking it kind of out of like just romantic relationships. But,
Yeah.
That's one way relationships mature in general. Like you guys just get older, you get busier. And I think that kind of defines the difference in like friends, like who you're closer with because you're willing to prioritize that time. Because you can't see all of your friends all at once, unless you guys are all living together, or you guys are in a commune or something, you're just not gonna see your friends all the time, and definitely not all your friends all the time.
Sure, yeah.
So
It's true.
So that's like one part about really growing up, and like that's really trying to find that prioritizing in your schedules. So
Another thing I think is very very. Screw it. I'm just going to start the sentence because I don't know where I was going. What I think, another thing is that, wow, my grammar. What's going on, chat?
Dude,
where am I going?
This heat is just getting to your...
Oh.
Got him.
Dying. Add one to the counter. Add one to the counter. We should keep a counter.
Oh my god.
Make that into like a game or something. Yeah. A little clink every time that happens.
Oh my gosh. That would be so funny.
Well, we'll start pitching some ideas. But anyway, all I was going to say is I think that when you're in a younger relationship in your teenage years, I think a lot of teenagers, especially me, and I got to feel like you did too, you feel like it's real and you feel like it's the most important part of your life and you feel like it's an adult relationship, but you're blind to the fact that it's not. People will tell you over and over again that this is not what you think it is. You just feel that it's that way, but you're so blind and love struck that you don't realize that or you don't comprehend that. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it makes sense. I think some of that stirred a little bit from personal...
Absolutely.
Personal opinion.
Yeah.
Oh no, but like 100%. I think you think it's the biggest deal in the world, like breaking up in high school. Oh my gosh, dude! Like you feel like the world is imploding on itself.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do with yourself. But part of that is a conversation we've had before, like off of Mike and off of Cam's.
Mm-hmm.
When you're with someone 24/7. Like you are in high school, 5 days a week, most likely 6 or 7 days a week because you only get 2 days to hang out outside of school.
Yeah.
You're going to kind of get tired of each other. Like
it's inevitable. It absolutely is.
And you guys are still growing as people. You are not going to be the same person you were in high school. I'm just telling you that right now.
Oh my God, no.
I thought I was going to be the same person. I was going to drop out of high school to play music. That was like, I was going to do that. Like, that was it. Like, my mind was settled on that. Do you think I want to do that now? Hell no, bro. Like, no. Like, I'm so glad I didn't do that.
We're
like,
not interested in being famous anymore.
No, it's just, you change. And, like, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. I think, like, when we're in high school, like, I don't know about you, but when we would have, like, guest speakers for certain things, they'd be like, oh, I was a pro athlete.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to play for, whatever, baseball team, football team, whatever, blew my knee out. Boom. I'm not a football or baseball player anymore, but I love what I do, right?
Yeah.
And in high school, you're sitting there and you're thinking, bro's lying. Like, ain't no way he was playing career football, sport, and then you're content with going around and talking to kids like me. I don't care. Like, I don't care about you being up here. But it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like we were in a different mindset. We were like, oh, dude, that's all that matters. Now it's like, I want to buy a house.
Yeah, it's
I want a motorcycle. Like, I don't want
completely altered themselves. Like there's something about that age where when you find that person you can call your other half, I guess. Like that is the only thing that matters. And it's just, I think it's a lot to do with just that age because it happens to both young girls and young guys.
you kind of leech off that person.
Yeah,
You kind of just
it's really unhealthy,
well,
honestly.
you make a lot of your personality, I feel, them because
Yeah,
because
that's
you are
true.
developing as a person. You
Yeah.
know that it's like it's not that hard to pick up traits from another. Gosh, now I can't talk
Yeah,
from another
man.
person. You know, like it's the same thing with us. We hang out all the time. We say the same things. We finish each other's sentences, dude.
All
Like
the time.
so,
Yeah.
it's just part of that development
Yeah.
as a person, you know, and we've known each other since 4th grade, so obviously we're probably gonna have a lot of stuff that we have adapted,
So many things.
you
Yeah.
know. So I don't
No,
know,
it's
man.
true, and I think it's similar when you're older, like we are, and I'm sure it changes even more as you get older than us. But I mean, it's it's something strange to think about because I don't know if here's the question, honestly, for like young relationships compared to old ones. Knowing what you know now, would you say dating in high school is good to do? Like, should people do it?
nah. Nah.
Nah.
And here's why, because I'm not gonna lie, like I was the kid who needed attention all the time, right?
Sure.
I could chalk that up to being an only child, or I could chalk that up to not having enough attention at home. But I had all the attention at home, so it wasn't that. I just needed the attention and I needed the approval of everybody. So in return, it was like with girls, if anybody looked my direction, it was like, oh my gosh, they like me, and it was such a big deal. You know, it was such a big deal. It didn't
Yeah,
matter
yeah.
who the person was, and it doesn't work out. It just does not. At the end of the day, you'll look at it at 6 years. What, we've been out of high school 6 years now. You'll look at it in 6 years and you'll think it was so stupid. Like you just don't even, I don't know. It just cannot even equate.
Not me sitting here counting on my hand. It's been 6 years.
Hey man, the high school education was
Hey,
top notch.
listen,
Top notch.
blame my high school education all you want. I'm totally okay with saying that my high school is the reason I'm dumb.
It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair. But I mean, you just don't realize how insignificant those relationships are. You lose out on a lot of fun because you're so worried about someone else. I mean, and that sounds selfish, but you are adapting and you are becoming yourself as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the times to have fun with your boys or your girls. Like those are the times to,
Yeah.
be out late on a school night and, regret it in the morning because you have to go to school early, but it was worth it because it's a memory you're always going to have.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. When you get into a relationship, it's real. And I see like in your notes, like stuff about a partnership, like you don't realize how important it is to be in an actual partnership with someone. Like it is a completely different story having your parents drive you around on your dates. It's a whole different story seeing someone at your designated time of seeing them, which is school for 8 hours a day. It's different because
Absolutely
again,
different,
like
yeah.
we were talking about before, you work them around your life. Like you have a whole life that you are doing. You have work, you have any extracurricular activities, you have just eating. Sometimes I forget to eat, man. It gets busy. You forget to do just basic essential things. So it's like part of that is communicating with a person. And like, if you don't have those communication skills, good luck, dude. Good luck. Because if you don't communicate with your partner, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get anything done, planned. Yeah. And I fall short all the time, dude. I'm not someone who plans
Everyone's
anything.
gonna fall short. We're not trying to like get on this pod and say that we're love experts. That's not
at all.
But
Not at all.
we're just trying
Not
to
at all.
like kind of portray what we've learned or what we think now based on our past experiences.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the past is a lot. I mean, we grew up in small schools where everybody knew everybody.
Yeah.
We had a few of those relationships where it was like we shouldn't have been in one where it's like there's only 12 people in our class. You know,
Yeah, where it's kind of like
everyone's
you
in
find
your
yourself in the
business.
relationship and then there's no way out because like
Yeah. You don't realize the value of just having things separate from like what other people know about you and like what you and your significant other know about each other and stuff like that. Like there's just such a piece there. When you date in high school, you don't get that because everyone's in your business.
yeah.
Everyone wants to know everything about everything happening in your relationship. And it just turns into a big mess because it's not you guys. It's now like
Yeah.
you and like 6 other people from both sides
I'm-
all trying to give advice on something that they don't understand. So,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm curious what you think, and I know we're probably going to go more into like relationships nowadays and stuff like that in a minute here, but um if high schoolers have that problem of always being with that person in school and like having to spend countless hours every day, 5 days a week for an entire year, maybe excluding summer. Um do you think that same problem happens to like newlywed couples?
Oh, I don't know. I think you probably get out of the honeymoon stage eventually.
Sure.
Uh,
But I feel like it would just like maybe it's different because obviously if you're getting married, I would hope that most people know that like that's a big commitment.
forever commitment
Yeah.
in some cases.
And so you're going to inevitably hit that day. Like it's going to be a Thursday. You're not going to be happy when you come home from work and you're going to see the same face you've seen for 3 years. And I just feel like it could be hard, but
It might piss you off a little bit, honestly.
just a little bit. Yeah.
You know, I think it's a real thing. I think it's part of being human. You're sharing a space with someone like all the time. So I'm
Yeah.
sure like at some point, like, we want to play our games. We want to, like play video games. We want to
Sure.
be boys, like we want to talk to the homies like online, and it could be a little bit hard when, you have your significant
try and
other
get
around
some of that alone
24/7,
time, yeah.
so yeah, I could see that being hard, but part of that is something we talk about every single episode. It's part about choosing to love somebody,
Mhm.
and that's choosing to be like, all right, that's part of that patience, the patience that comes with loving someone. Like, all right, like, yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, I don't want to talk about my day. Yeah, I just want to kind of sit here, look at the wall for a couple hours,
Yeah.
just zone out. But you're here, and I gotta choose to love you, So
Yeah.
what does that look like? And
I think that was one of the main things. Like that was like my main idea that was different between young and older relationships is I think the older you get, the more you realize that you can make that promise. You can not everyone's capable of it. Some people a lot of marriages end in divorce and we can get into that later, but
man,
but
yeah, that's a big topic.
but
Right
I think
there.
when you get older compared to when you were in high school, you are way more accepting of the idea of like, okay, I got to button down. I don't know if that's the term. Buckle down.
buckle
Buckle down.
Yeah.
How many
Button
phrases
down.
have I said on this podcast that's just not the right phrase? What was I slipping on marbles or whatever I said?
I'm pretty sure I said coming out of the woodward the other day. So I don't know, dude. I don't know.
We're really bad, but yeah, I mean, I think that's the main difference. Is I think when you're older, you know that you can sit down and you can make that commitment to someone.
Yeah.
So, what's your opinion on what like makes a relationship healthy or not?
Well, like, I think part of growing up and maturing is sadly going through various forms of relationships, to be honest.
Sure.
I think like relationships are difficult to manage, whether they're friends, family, or like romantic relationships in general. So I think they age and grow just as much as like the people experiencing them do. I think it's kind of like a fine wine, like it gets better with age, but on top of that, like they get difficult with age too.
Yeah.
You got to sit there, have those real conversations with someone, and sometimes those can be hard. So part of that is just learning like who's going to stick by you. And some people grow out of those relationships, and some of those, relationships tend to last what people think through lifetimes,
Yeah.
So I don't really know, man. I think those strong relationships that are continuously able to like weather through those storms and are probably just one of those once in a lifetime friendships that you're gonna find, just in general.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the right place at the right time.
Sure.
So,
Do you think that it's okay for someone if they feel that during a relationship at this age or older, if they've like come to the conclusion in their own head after whatever circumstances led to it, that they're like, I can't do it. I don't think I'm ready for this. I know that this person is fully committed to me, but I'm just not. Is that is there a healthy way to get out of that? Is it okay for that person to be like, now I'm done? Is there a good way to do that?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's any way to not break that person's heart,
Yeah.
if you're that far into a relationship. I think it's definitely respectable to be able to be like, hey, this is getting really serious and I don't think I'm as ready as I thought I was going to be. And
Yeah.
I think that that's a respectful thing to do for the person, but more or less,
You have
it's
to be
still gonna
prepared for how
hurt,
they'll react.
Yeah.
'Cause-
And human emotion is very fragile.
Mhm.
And I think we don't even really know, like, how we're going to handle certain situations, no matter how much we try to talk ourselves up in our heads. Like, oh, hey, this is how it's going to end up. This is how it's going to work out.
yeah.
But, when poop hits the fan, dog, you never know how you're going to, react to anything. So
Mhm.
I think it's just a hard question that I don't think you're ever really going to have an answer for, because I just
Sure.
think people are just so different,
Yeah, but like in your opinion, you're saying that as long as you're open and honest about it, if that's truly how you feel, then you should just be upfront. And like you shouldn't wait or anything
you
like
shouldn't, and you shouldn't lie
Yeah.
either. Like if someone says, "Are you happy?" and
Yeah.
you're like, "Well, yeah,"
That's
but like
yeah.
really, you're kind of like,
Ugh.
I don't know, I'm a little scared to be honest.
Yeah.
I think you should be able to have that conversation, and even if you have that conversation before you guys even break up or anything, like that could save your relationship right there. Is just being honest and being like, honestly, this is moving a little fast, and I'm a little scared, and I
Mhm.
don't know what to do. Like, if it's a real relationship and a relationship worth having, whether it be romantic or a friendship or something like that, because you can move real fast in a friendship too. I mean, depending
Yeah,
on like,
no, that's yeah.
and I think it's okay to set your boundaries, and um, anyone who's worth staying in your life is going to understand and respect those boundaries. So that's all I got to say.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be a Woodsman podcast if we didn't get a little like psychological and kind of try and tap into the third realm and see what's real or not, right?
Yeah.
So tell me, do you think that relationships can genuinely pass through lifetimes, friendship or relationships?
That's interesting. Well, I love Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I got that from Avatar: The Last Airbender actually.
Mhm.
When they're all sitting there in the last episode, they're like, "Wow, I guess friendships really could last through lifetimes." But I would like to believe so. Yeah, but I don't really know how that works. But I
Yeah,
think
I'm not like asking you.
I
Do
think
you
there are
believe
certain
in
emotions that
multiple lifetimes? I'm just asking. Like,
yeah. Well, I think some emotions can be strong enough to last long after you're gone.
Mm.
And I believe that, yeah, I think you could love someone enough to transcend that, and I think people go through that a lot. If their significant other dies before them or something like that, I feel like they tend to find signs that they're still there and they're still, with them, regardless of whether it's in their head or not. I mean, there's some level of comfort being brought to them, regardless on if it's physically from that person or if it's maybe from that energy of
Yeah.
loving someone so hard in one place,
I mean, I honestly think that there's some truth to it. I think that's a great way to put it, is like someone who lost their significant other. I think that there have been people in my life who made such a difference and who have loved me unconditionally and stuff like that, or if they passed away now, I would still feel them. It's still, whether that be, like you said, a manipulation of my mind, or if it's genuinely their essence still giving me some life, you know?
Yeah.
I think that there's genuinely emotions can be so strong that I don't know if I'd say lifetimes, but they can definitely surpass like normal.
I would say physical death.
Yeah,
I think emotions are so strong. And I mean, just look at how people feel about religion and stuff like that too. I mean, it was so lasting. It was such a lasting impression to people that it has transcended into, well, I mean, lifetimes.
hmm
I mean, people follow Christianity and stuff, and it's been,
yeah, that's a good point.
what, 2,000 years since Jesus, resurrected. So, I mean, yeah, I think emotions really do kind of like leave that impact, whether it be relationship, like with a significant other, your friendships too,
Yeah,
So, I
no,
don't know.
I like that. I like that idea. I don't know. I never really thought about that before. I've never thought about emotions and how strong they are. I mean, it's true. Like I feel like I love people so much. Not a significant other. Spoiler chat. but
Oh, man.
but no, I definitely have people in my life that I love so much that I would hope. I think it's kind of all down to like what you leave behind, because yes, it's part of your emotions, but it's also just who you were, what you did with yourself. Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to be famous, but I hope that what I did leave behind was enough for someone to remember, or to hear a word I said, or to remember something I did for them, Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like you're kind of just living through them.
Yeah,
Like through your actions
exactly.
or through your words and who you were.
I don't
like, as
want
a
to I don't want to
person here.
leave the world knowing that like I didn't impact somebody, even if it was slight.
It would be kind of a sad life to
Yeah.
not impact anybody.
All right, let's delve into some questions, my friend, because I feel like there's a lot of good questions we could ask each other.
They better be some good ones.
There are. I think I wrote a couple good ones.
Okay.
Let's start with one that is near and dear to my life,
Oh,
and I would like to know your
man.
opinion on it. Is it okay to be single?
Why did I know that was the one you were going to ask first?
I feel like we spent the majority of this episode like talking about what it was like to be in a relationship as a kid, what it's like to be in a relationship now, what to look forward to or to strive for when you're older. I'm not currently in a relationship, and I'm not mad or sad about that. But I know people in my life who never ended up finding anybody. So, what's your opinion on it? Do you think it's okay to be single as like your walk in life?
I mean, I think it's absolutely acceptable, bro. I mean, I would never judge someone for not being in a relationship because, I mean, it's cool. You could do a lot of stuff. You don't have to worry about, planning anything around anyone else. It's,
Mhm.
your own life. You can do whatever you want to do. I mean, it sounds like I'm bagging on relationships. I'm not, but
We
like,
spent so long
yeah.
building it up. We're allowed to talk about both
But
sides.
yeah, I mean, like, no, it's a good thing to be single. Find yourself, like, the most important journey is the journey you're having with yourself, man. I mean,
Do you think there is someone out there for everyone?
I mean, I'm.
Bah.
I,
Bah.
I mean, there's
like
how
that
many
answer.
billion people in the world? I'm sure, yeah, but
So you think
I don't
mathematically
know.
there is, but you don't.
You're telling me not one single person in this whole world, like, you're not compatible with, like.
I'm not saying that. I'm just.
I'm not saying like
wondering.
you and
Yeah.
but
I'm
in general, I
this is the
just
problem with bringing me into as an example. Is now it's like we're not dogging on me. I hope.
wow.
Well, no, I agree. I think that there could be someone for everybody, but I don't know if everyone will find it or if that they need to. Um, do you think it's healthy, like mentally, to be alone for so long? Like, is it
I mean, as long as you're not a hermit and you don't like,
as long as you get out once in a while?
yeah, like I think you should get out and do things like meet
Yeah.
people. Like just because you're not in a relationship doesn't mean you don't go on dates.
Sure.
Doesn't mean you don't go out and meet people and like talk to people. Like, just means you're not in a committed relationship. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think people think there's something wrong with that, but
Yeah, it's like a stereotype or a
like,
cliche. It's like people who don't have someone or is doing something wrong, or that's what I think society thinks.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never been in a rush to like get married. Like, I've never been like, oh yeah, all I want in life is to be a husband. I've never, no. But then there's some people, that's all they want. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're just all different, and that's okay. We don't all have to have the same,
Yeah.
I guess, thinking on certain things. As long as you're just caring about other people, I don't really think it matters all that much,
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I just think people care so much about the things that are the least important,
Sure.
As long as you're out here and you're just being a good person and being the best you, then there really should be no complaints, to be
Yeah,
honest.
as long as you're
So,
doing your best to better yourself, because that's kind of what a partner's supposed to do for you, right? They're supposed to work to better who you are as well as themselves, because like
yeah,
we
yeah.
said, it's a partnership.
I mean, my girlfriend has bettered me in so many ways, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I live like an animal. She makes me a civil person. So
Yeah.
dude, there's nothing wrong with being single. There's nothing wrong with being in a relationship. It's
Just
all
taking
about
care of
just
yourself.
wherever you're at in your life and trying to be the best you can be every day, dude. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So, well, going from that one, can a dating relationship be as healthy as a married one?
See, I've thought about this a lot because, like, and honestly, one of the reasons I think about it is because there's a lot of people I follow on TikTok who are just like dating, but that's it. Like, they don't have any plans to progress it. They don't have any plans to change or get married. And that's just what they want. A lot of social influencers that I know, but I've thought about that a lot. Like, it's like, would choosing to just date someone and that be it and never try and get like the benefits from the taxes, which that's where I'm like, well, why not? But I don't know. I'm blabbering. I don't know. It's a hard question. I think that it's okay. I think it's okay for someone to date forever, but I guess I don't know. That's hard. What do you?
Now, well, I have a follow-up question then that goes into that.
Okay.
And it would be, is it okay to be married amongst each other and not
What do you mean?
and not have the government involved with it? Like, do you want the government in every single aspect of your life, like in that way? Or like, is the I guess,
So
let me
you're
rephrase.
asking, do you need to be?
Is the sanctity of marriage, like, does the paper like define it all?
Does the paper define the marriage,
Yeah,
or does
like,
the marriage define the marriage?
yeah, like, I think, does your vow and your oath to that person, does that matter more than the piece of paper from the government saying you're married?
I think personally that like the vow is more important. I don't think that the paper by the government, because that was not always a thing.
Yeah.
We didn't always have governing marriage licenses, But wow, you know what? No, you're making me think now. You're like making me kind of question it. Like, yeah, there's like benefits to it, like I mentioned, but I think
But
that
why-
it's more important that you love that person.
Yeah.
It's more important
Yeah.
that you guys are willing and dedicated to each other to be like, I want you, I don't want anyone else, and I'm willing to like accept that, and I won't go after anyone, I won't cheat, I won't do anything like that. Like, you are my person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's a good point. That's a good point, man. The vows.
I got you, dog. I got you.
What do you think? You agree?
Oh, 100%.
You don't like the governing.
I mean, you know how I am about the government, man.
You
I
don't
don't
like
even
any-
like banks. So like, I don't think the government has to have a say in every single aspect of your life. I think that is such an odd way to be conditioned since birth. That everything has to go through legal, like, government documentation. Like, well, why does the government have to be involved in my marriage?
Yeah.
My marriage is between me and that person, and that's it. That's all that matters, dude. And
It's just weird because you're right. We were grown up in that way of thinking and that lifestyle. So like me trying to comprehend, oh, well, if someone just got married, but they didn't do it through the government, wouldn't they still just be dating? But then that
Yeah.
makes me rethink the original question, which is like, is dating just as okay as being married? And it's like, well, if you just get married by yourselves or you're just dating or whatever, it's just the same thing. It's just the same thing as long as you love each other.
what's
That's
the
so
difference
weird.
between dating and marriage when you're like doing the marriage stuff? Like, like
yeah.
like, and when you're an adult, you are like you are like you're living an adult relationship, and that's marriage, dude.
It's a good point.
I
It
don't
really
think the
does come
government
down to
needs
how you feel about your person. And I don't think marriage is a necessity. I think that there are things that are good and bad about it. But yeah, I think it's all just dependent on if you truly love that person and if they love you too. And you guys are both willing to be like, hey, this is it. You got me.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving now,
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think having the government involved with your marriage also brings a lot of that like money, like strife as well. I feel like it also brings a lot of like in the back of your head type of things, because I mean more than half of marriages end in divorce. Like that's just that's a common statistic we have heard for a long old time, but that's a statistic that is just out there, right?
And you think that it's a lot to do with the fact that it's...
Well, I mean, like, think of how it turns out, bro. Like, having the government involved in your marriage. Like, okay, we want to get a divorce. Okay, we'll get the lawyers, both sides. We're all going to tear each other apart for money.
Yeah.
When we were out here claiming, like, just 2 months ago that we loved each other, nothing would ever come between us. But then, like, something has to happen, and then you guys like ruin each other's lives over it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, what the government do? They were literally the people who gave you the means to
ruin it.
Yeah. If it was just you guys and it was on your guys' terms, it would be like, okay, we have to figure this out with each other. There is no going to outside help. Like, oh well, they have my stuff. Like, I want to like. It forces you to sit down like adults.
Do you think?
And have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like,
do you think that part of why it all goes wrong when you're in a divorce is because, and hear me out on this, when you're in high school and you're dating, you are pretty much governed by whoever is above you. Teachers, parents. Like you can't, like we said earlier, you can't just like go out and be with them. Like you have to ask permission. You're very immature at that age. When you get to this age and you have more freedoms and you can date freely and you and her are the only ones making decisions in the relationship, it seems very strong most of the time. And then if you get married and then you get a divorce, now you're having to put all the power back into someone above you again, causing you to, like you said, to become very obnoxious, very rude and ruthless to each other, just like when you were in high school.
100%.
Becoming very like...
It's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, dude. Oh, that's so sad. Like, that's so hard to think about.
Well, I always think of Marriage Story.
So, dude.
And I just...
Top tier movie. It's
movie
literally one of my favorites.
Sends me every time. Like, I cry
like,
too. Like a baby every time I've seen that movie. Dude.
Every day I wish you would go out and die. And you're just like
if I knew that Henry would be okay and you could get a disease and slowly die, then I would want that. Like,
dude,
and then,
it's so real because you're just like, who says that? That's only stuff you say when you're like
that heated.
Yeah,
because it's a real. Like it's
real.
Such a real movie. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Chad. We like went off the rails right now, but check out A Marriage Story.
Go watch
Jennifer Aniston.
No,
or not.
No, definitely not Jennifer Aniston.
I'm sorry. I hate myself for that, dude.
He meant Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson, dude.
And clearly Timothy Chalamet. otherwise known as Adam,
Adam
Driver.
Driver.
Oh my god!
All right, chat BRB. I'm just going to the back of the barn right now because that one was unacceptable. Oh man, I know Joey's gonna clip that
That's
too.
definitely going in the intro.
Wow, I don't even remember. Yeah. Anyways, top tier movie.
Top tier movie.
Wow.
How about this one? Do you think cheating is ever in any way acceptable? Could you see an instance where cheating is okay? Or you could understand why someone did it?
Well, I mean, I can't just think of that off the top of my head. Like, I would have to hear a circumstance,
Fair.
you know? But, I mean, no.
Okay, how about an easy but a hard one,
depend on
right?
what cheating is as well, because it's also a suggestive or subjective question.
Yeah.
Because some people be
Let's say
weird.
your girl,
Okay,
and I'm not meaning your girl, let's just say a girl you're dating,
makes sense.
goes and has sex with another guy
Come on, man.
and tells you about it, and she wants to stay in a relationship. You decide to, because like you chose originally in the relationship that you were going all in and that you cared for her and you wanted to be that person. Is it justifiable that if you have the opportunity to cheat then afterwards for you to do it?
No.
Really?
No.
Okay, expound.
Well, I don't think like two wrongs make a right.
I agree. I'm not saying it's okay. I just want your opinion.
Well, I just think that growing up, maturing as a person,
Yeah.
I think we all kind of have a social moral contract to like not be mean people.
Yeah.
And you know, some people obviously break that moral contract. But like, what about you then doing the same thing back to them?
Yeah, what is that?
Because
do?
is that worse? Because then you're doing it out of spite. Then you're not just doing it like, heat of the moment, something happened. Like, say
some
theirs
people
would.
think revenge is a justifiable thing.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other whole other topic we could dive into because that's a
revenge or justice. That's...
What about vengeance?
That was good. I like that.
Thank you.
Oh man, yeah.
That was
we're going off the rails.
man.
Today,
That was a good
chat.
one. Okay, well, I have one more for you.
Okay,
at least
one
one
more.
that I want to ask.
Long story short, don't cheat.
Yeah, don't cheat, please. Please, chat. Just don't be that guy.
In all seriousness, I totally agree with you. I don't think there's ever really a situation where cheating is justifiable.
Yeah, I don't know a valid.
Yeah.
I don't know a valid reasoning as to why people would. Want to know one that sorry, this is also going off the rails. Want to know one that I also have never understood why it's a thing? Why do you get strippers, like I'm sorry. Why do you get strippers your bachelor party? Like, why is that a typical male thing to do?
Are you saying it's wrong to?
Well, like, if
'Cause
you're... Well, it's only because what mindset is it to say, before the old, ball and chain, waha, like, what? Like, what is that?
I don't think you should.
Like, isn't that weird?
Yes,
Like,
it's definitely weird. It's a weird situation either way, whether or not you have a bunch of girls dancing on your lap or a guy jumping out of a cake.
that too, yeah.
I think.
I mean, that's funny. Honestly, if a guy jumped out of a cake for my bachelor party... It would be pretty funny. Hey man, you took it that way. You did.
Okay.
I'm comfortable in my sexuality. What does that say about you, buddy? What does that say about you?
Okay. I think with that,
Joey's like, I gotta move by that fast.
No. I'm trying to answer your question. I don't know. It is weird. It's.
I just don't understand. Like, where does
I don't
the
think
concept
if you
come
go
from?
into it with like, the old ball and chain, then no, you shouldn't do that. I think if you have, I guess, just a healthy relationship with your girl, I don't know, like, because every relationship's different.
That is true. Some relationships are cool with like all that. kind of stuff.
Like,
I mean,
oh my god, we should have done a topic about what is it? fluid relationships. Is that what it's called?
Oh,
Open relationships.
open relationships. Oh man, that's a whole.
That's
other,
a whole can of worms. That's
I don't. Nah. Nah.
no. But yeah, I think that if you are, I don't think you should hide it from your person. You know, like
Oh yeah.
if they're cool with it, then have fun. You know,
I just
but
think my thinking is, do I want my girlfriend going to like a gentleman or what is it, the Chippendales? What I don't know what it's
Dude,
called. Isn't
I
that?
effing know.
I don't know, like the girl version of a strip club, like for males. I don't, dude. I'm uncultured, dude. I don't know. I genuinely do
It's
not
fine.
know. I don't.
You shouldn't.
Well,
You
I
wouldn't
just think
want
of it
her
like,
to go.
I mean, would you? I would feel weird about it.
I
mean, in all good fun
Yeah.
or whatever. If out with the girls, like have a couple laughs or whatever. But like,
I don't think, for me,
at least
there
I
should
think
be any
strip clubs for guys
physical
are different.
contact.
Okay, yeah. That's
Like if you go out and you just have a good time, but you're just watching girls dance, like whatever. Like, but if a guy's like getting a little too intimate with my girl, yeah, that's weird.
yeah.
Yeah,
I would hope so. I would hope so.
No, I think it's a really hard question because there's a lot of different scenarios that go into that, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just the growing up part. I'm just like,
Sure, yeah.
I don't think I don't have that desire. I'm all right.
You don't.
I
you
would
don't wanna
I would
see
rather
any-
go out to like Vegas or something and like go
Just party
shoot
hard,
those
gambling.
like crazy like guns and
Yeah,
stuff like that
yeah.
you did for graduation.
Oh
or,
yeah, dude.
just do like fun like guys stuff.
Yeah.
Or like go out on like a week camping trip or something.
Yeah, it'd be
Or
fun.
just
Like
go,
no,
go
it's
wild.
that's the whole thing. Is that the bachelor and bachelorette parties are just supposed to be something like fun to do, like right before.
Yeah.
Supposed to be a big celebration. It's not. It's just sort of been defiled a bit
Yeah.
over the years.
It's just gotten crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure it's been crazy literally since forever. So I don't know. Humans have found a way to do some crazy stuff. So party hard.
I don't know, man.
You know? The Woodsmen podcast is actively reading and responding to anything and everything on Instagram and our email. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the show, you can email us at thewoodsmanpod@gmail.com. Make sure to keep up with all things Woodsman related on Instagram at woodsmanpod. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the Woodsman podcast with video exclusively on YouTube and Patreon. Make sure to follow our personal accounts at Strange Kids and Pie Master J on all platforms.
The Woodsman podcast is co-produced by Brent Murphy and Joey Rucker.
Engineered by Brent Murphy and edited by Joey Rucker.
Additional editing by Brent Murphy and blood, sweat, and tears by the both of us.
Any additional content by the Woodsman podcast may not be used without our permission. Copyright the Woodsman podcast.
And remember, the best way to get a girl is